this is quite a day to be able to have our first company huddle and have the governor of the state of Illinois be to give us our first applause or give us kudos or whatever. But the governor's got a lot in front of him, and I'm going to turn it over to Governor Rauner. And thank you very much.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor for me to stop by. I care very deeply about Bloomington and every community in Illinois. I work for you. I'm here because I work for you. We're going to turn our state around. This is a key turning point in Illinois history. The key to turning the state around is great companies like Boppy thriving and growing. When companies like Boppy are growing, Illinois is successful. When companies like Boppy are stagnant or not able to grow, or they need to leave to another state to get a better opportunity to compete, that's when Illinois is losing. So and Boppy wants to stay, they're committed to Illinois, they're 100% all in and they're growing, and I want to make sure Boppy and companies like it are growing here in Bloomington and every community around the state. Thank you, I appreciate that. So, to do that, we've got to make the regulations competitive. Workers' compensation costs in Illinois are too high, that hurts companies like Boppy. Our unemployment insurance costs are too high, hurts companies like Boppy. Our lawsuit abuse, the insurance costs, too high, hurt companies like Boppy. And our tax burden, too high, hurt companies like Boppy. We've got to change those things, and we're committed to changing those things, so Boppy's growing. And companies like Boppy are growing, and I can travel the nation and the world, I'm going to do it on my nickel, recruiting companies like Boppy to come to Illinois, come to Bloomington, come to Normal, come to McLean County, invest and grow, and create great careers for you and your friends and your kids and your neighbors. That's the whole key to our success, and that's our #1 priority. But to get the tax burden reasonable on Boppy and on you, we've got to reform our government. I'm committed to reforming our government in Illinois. Government in Illinois is corrupt. You guys know we've had 4 out of our last 8 governors go to prison. We have corruption. We have conflicts of interest and self-dealing. In fact, one of the famous lines about Springfield is from Adlai Stevenson. Some of you remember Adlai Stevenson. He was a longtime public servant in Illinois. He had a great line about Springfield. He said, "Cleanliness is next to godliness, except in the Illinois legislature, where it's next to impossible." We have a system of self-dealing and conflicts, and this is what we've got to want to take on. I've moved to Springfield now. To me, it's an honor to be there. I live in the governor's residence. You guys are welcome to come on down anytime. I'd love to have you tour the mansion. And I need you to also come to the Capitol where my office is, come visit our office, but also knock on the doors. Knock on the door of Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton. We've got to get them to take some tough votes. I want to get your tax burden down. Your property taxes are too high. We have the highest, us in New Jersey have the highest property taxes in America. Your home taxes are too high. The property taxes on Boppy are too high. We got to bring down the tax burden. I want to freeze local property taxes and empower you as local voters to decide whether property taxes ever go up and by how much. So you can get a better handle on how your tax burden is on your town, on your home. Key critical thing. And then I want to go beyond that. I want you to decide the cost of your government. County government, McLean County, city council, city costs for Bloomington, they're too high. We've got government unions that control how much you spend. You should decide how much you spend. You should decide what gets collectively bargained in your government. It's your government. You own the government. You should control the government. You should decide what gets collectively bargained. You should decide who has to join a union or not join a union to work for you. Same thing in your schools. If you like a strong teachers union, terrific. You should have that. You should keep it. You should have that in your schools. If you want more flexibility, if you don't want your teachers to have to join a union to teach your kids, you should be able to decide that. They're your schools. You should decide these things. It's the same thing in your local economy. If you want companies to have forced unionization and have to be unionized, if they get a union, everybody has to pay the dues, fine, you should have that in your local community. If you want to be competitive and have more flexibility in the workplace, like Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, you should be able to decide that. It's your economy, it's your community, you should decide. We need voters, you are the voters, you should be empowered to decide what goes on in the government and in your local economy. That's how we'll shrink the tax burden. That's how we'll make the government efficient and working for you. We've got a fundamental decision to make in Illinois. I'm a believer we should have good social services programs. Help our developmentally disabled. Help our veterans who need our support. Help our children in poverty. Help our elderly citizens who aren't able to help themselves. I believe we can judge ourselves as a community by how well we help the disadvantaged, take care of those who are vulnerable. We have to choose. Do we want good social services programs, or do we want a massive government bureaucracy? Massive government bureaucracy that's taking the money out for pensions and work rules and high pay, 50% higher pay than in the states around us for the government work. We have to choose because we can't afford both. Do we want to have a big government bureaucracy taking all the money, or do we want our money in our social services, and so the taxes aren't too high on your homes and on companies like Bobby, so Bobby can grow and create more jobs? We have to make the choice. My vote as governor, get the money out of the bureaucracy, move it over into social services, and put it back in your pockets as homeowners, put it back in the pockets of a company like Bobby, so Bobby can grow and create more jobs. That's the choice we got to make. That's where I'm pushing it. I need your help. Knock on some doors in Springfield. Talk to the legislators. Make a few phone calls. Come on down there with me. Let them know we've got to get the power back to you. You decide on the taxes. You decide on the expenses of the government. You decide what goes on in your schools. You decide whether your economy in McLean County can compete with Indiana or not. You should control it. They shouldn't tell you. You should decide for yourselves. We've got to get these unfunded mandates off of you from Springfield. We've got to get the conflicts of interest out. You know, the trial lawyers who give campaign cash to judges that they argue cases in front of. Medicaid providers, hospital providers who do Medicaid can give campaign cash to politicians that they give them the Medicaid contracts. The government union bosses who negotiate pensions and work rules with politicians can give millions of dollars to politicians, get them into office, and then negotiate after the fact. It's a conflict of interest. The government is working against your interest and for those special insiders. We got to stop that, get the government away from those people, and get it back in your hands so you decide these issues. That's how we're going to turn the state around. Local control, voters empowered, you decide. You decide on your taxes, you decide on your government, you decide on your economy, you decide on your schools. Springfield doesn't tell you, you do it for yourselves. We're going to thrive when we do that. Once we get that change made with your help this year, I'm going to Indiana, and I'm going to go over there. They've been stealing our jobs for years. We lost 48,000 manufacturing jobs the last 5 years. Indiana's gained 42,000 manufacturing jobs. I'm going over there, and I'm bringing those companies back here. And I'm going to Wisconsin, I'm bringing those companies here. And I'm going to Texas. You know, my predecessor complained. He said Rick Perry was the governor of Texas. Rick Perry was always up here recruiting companies to leave Illinois and go down to Texas. And then my predecessor, Governor Quinn, used to say, he should go home, he shouldn't do that, he should just stay in Texas, he shouldn't come to Illinois. And my answer is, Rick Perry was doing his job. He was competing and growing the Texas economy. Now, and I told Perry's successor as governor in Texas, his name was Governor Abbott. I called him, I said, you know what, Governor, you got about 6 more months where you can come up here and have some easy pickings in Illinois. You got 6 months and then that game's over. You're not getting any more companies out of Illinois. And in fact, we're going to make the changes on our reforms. And I'm coming down there. I'm warning you right now. I'm coming to Houston. I'm coming to Dallas. I'm coming to Austin. And we're bringing companies up to Illinois because we will compete with you anytime. We got the hardest working people in America. We got the best state location of any state in America, the most fertile farms, the best infrastructure, although we got to put more money into our roads to fix them up, and our schools and our bridges, and we'll do it. We are going to compete. We're going to get a booming economy. With this change, we're going to become the strongest state in the greatest nation on earth. That's the plan. We will thrive as a great state of Illinois. That's why I'm here, deliver that message. I need your help. Help me get the legislature to take some tough votes this year, and we're going to get it done. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I appreciate it. Do we have time for JD, do we have time for a little Q&A? Okay. Anybody have a couple questions? Anybody have a question about what we're doing or how we're doing it? Welcome to answer. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
This won't happen again, I guarantee that.
Well, I tell you, I'm in McLean County a lot. I love it here. It's a great part of the state. You guys have a great location and wonderful families, hardworking people here. Decently strong economy, but you can be booming in McLean County. You guys should be booming. And I'm going to be here a lot as governor the next 4 years. I want this part of the state thriving. And I'll be judging myself by how well I'm pulling that off. So I may or may not be able to come and sit in front of this. This machine is unbelievable. I may not be able to stand here again anytime soon, but you know what? I'll be here in your community. I'd love to visit with you because I'm working for you. We're going to get the government working back for you again. Thanks very much, everybody.